Hello everybody, nice day, and welcome back to Let's Play Suzerain Rizia. Let us continue on from where we last left off. So, there are, I would say, like 100 pop-ups right now. So, Daenerys elders in Argno have publicly condemned a wave of pamphlet attacking their teachings, calling the publications inflammatory and disrespectful. Okay, so what else do we have going on? A million reports. Everyone's really mad about these pamphlets. Like, they're all really mad about the, there's a lot of religious unrest in the country, it seems, which is, like, not great for me. What's going on in the news? By committing troops to fighting on the side of Vendosium's besieged Prince Consort, Rizia has thrown itself into its first armed conflict since its invasion of Palais decades earlier. I think we actually read this, and, I think when I reloaded the save, it shows back up. That's fine, no. So we have a meeting with the Royal Council, and yeah, you're giving more support to those guys. That's fine. Grace announces increased support for the monarchist forces in Vendosum as part of its efforts to uphold the principles of monarchic governance and promote regional stability. This action is intended to assist the royalist troops in restoring order amid the nation's ongoing civil conflict. Very good. Well, let's go just straight to the Royal Council, because we don't need to read all the pop-ups about the, you know, religious schism that's kind of going on right now. V and I walked into the council chambers. The councilors were already seated and waiting for us. As Titus closed the door behind us, the council members all stood up and bowed in respect. Okay, well, councilors, Your Majesty, Your Highness, before we begin in earnest, we must acknowledge the result of the recent House of Delegates election. He had a dour look on his face. It is a historic first for our kingdom. The Rizian People's Party won a majority of the seats. By unanimous vote, Mana Sazon was named House Speaker. Vina made no effort to hide her joy. Well, I mean, that's not great for us. I mean, I'm sure there was a way that we could have changed this if we'd passed more. No, but if we gave into the reforms, then they would probably just win harder, because they'd be like, hey, look, we're winning. The king's doing what we want. So, what? How could this happen? You know as well as I. His expression darkened. I wouldn't be surprised if House Azan had a hand in manipulating the voting results. Well, I don't know if he, I don't know if he rigged the vote. The bright side, we found that Parliament represents people of the nation. You know, the delegates are so far away from the levers of power. They can't actually do anything. No, not for now. But moving on to other news, he gestured at Adelina. Miss Werner has some important reports to share about our current energy situation. We'll let her speak. Thank you, Your Grace. I will start with an overview of our energy situation. Luckily, we are still producing enough energy to meet our demands and stay above the balance. He placed a stack of papers on the table. Based on our current deals and promises, including a rejected energy production, we'll be able to meet the demands of our industries if our current projects succeed. Well, I mean, why would they not succeed? Do you have any suggestions on how to improve our energy situation? Vast stretches of Rizia remain unexplored where resources are concerned. Commissioning a mining survey could uncover their potential. Experts say we have untapped coal deposits in the south, for example. And then there's the Aureus gas field. I believe Mr. Escobel has some news to share about that. Lorenzo nodded. Okay, well, what is the current projection for energy production? Fortunately, for the moment, our energy demands are being met. But we have additional projects that we're predicting more energy returns from. The Zapna hydroelectric dam project is continuing with speed. If it succeeds, our projection is that this will provide some relief to our energy industry as a renewable alternative. It will provide a strategic value for us as well. Most importantly, there's the issue with the disputed Aureus gas field. The predicted gas output of the field is of immense value. Okay. Well, and how does the estimated value fit into our current projection? Even half of that field would grant us immense relief for our energy woes. But we can get into details on that in a second. I believe Mr. Escobel has some news from the AN. Do you have any other questions, Your Majesty? No, thank you, Miss Werner. I have enough information. Of course, Your Majesty. She bowed in respect. We also have some news from Mr. Escobel regarding Palais and the Aureus gas field. Your Majesty, the results from the AN Arbitration Committee has just come in. The vote's outcome was influenced by a number of nations. Prime Minister Alma Sultana Morella used her legal background to make a convincing argument on our behalf. Queen Beatrice made a personal appearance at the end to plead our case. Chancellor Hegel of Augsland made an especially heartfelt plea to uphold the original interpretation of Andor without mentioning Rizia by name. Support for Palais came mostly from Lesbian and other ATO nations, of course. In the end, we simply couldn't overcome the clout ATO carries with the AN. The committee agreed with the Palesian argument about Calabias not having the same maritime radius as mainland Rizia, acknowledging their sole ownership of the Aureus gas field. According to the maritime borders they established, the field falls within the Palesian EEZ. This is very bad news for our energy situation. According to Andor, about 52% of that field lies within our borders. You are correct, Your Majesty. Palace is playing a dangerous game against us, and we're letting them win. The AN also ruled that we must immediately withdraw our ships from the Aureus gas field. Absolutely not. We're not doing that. And if we don't, they're going to sanction our gold or dare to stop importing our energy? Well, the AN further ruled that the committee members are obligated to enforce the outcome. No obligation of the AN is binding. None of those countries would risk initiating a direct conflict with us. I agree, Your Majesty. Besides, there's no way that we can accept this resolution. No other country can decide on the borders of our kingdom, or delegitimize our claim without a fight. But what are you suggesting, Your Grace? I don't think we should recognize the resolution. I say we keep our navy in place and assert our sovereignty. I really don't think this is necessary. Such a move will put us in a very precarious situation. There's no way the international community will approve of this. I agree with the Duchess. We will not back off. Lorenzo and Alina looked worried. As much as the gas in Aureus is incredibly valuable for us, I don't see how we can acquire it after the AN's resolution against us. We would likely be condemned by the entire international community. They condemn us all they want, the whole field will be ours. Fuck yeah, in for a penny, in for a pound. They can condemn us all they want. That whole field is going to be ours. It's time we take Palais back. The councillors went silent. They waited for me to explain what I meant. For the time being, we will keep our navy at the field, and we will not let Palasian ships nearby. If they fire at us, we will declare war. Understood, Your Majesty. Vina looked at me in shock. That settles it then. A strong response. I believe it is time to wrap this up. Everybody stood up and bowed. Vina and I stood up and left the chambers. Father, are you really going to go against the Alliance of Nations? Look, they went against us first. No, Vina. We're only going up against injustice. But won't the AN retaliate for this? I have no idea, to be honest. The AN is not a monolith, Vina. We have our partners. Rizia is not alone. I know, I still just don't like the sound of it. But I understand. I just hope this all works out without any further conflict. With about the conflict, we'll work this out in the end. That much is for sure. I hope so. She stopped for a moment. Anyways, Father, I didn't mean to question you. Let's just leave the chambers already. We walked together to the royal quarters of the palace. Well, it's time. Okay, let's look at all these off of the all these off of the screen here, because we don't need to worry. Again, this is all just about the tensions with the Vertius and the Golcondyst. I'm sure it's probably really important. But, you know, for now, I'm sure we're fine. Printing houses have been fined over pamphlets, smaller protest, vandalism. The crown urges calm in the wake of vandalism. More clerics are announcing threats. Worshippers hold vigilant solidarity. Anton Rain, Swords President Anton Rain has congratulated the RPP in her election win, emphasizing that both his USP and the Rizian party share an aim of democratizing their respective countries. Morella extends solidarity to the RPP, congratulates them on their victory. She highlighted the shared values between Rizia opposition party and her own, calling on King Romus to respect the results to be open to fruitful collaboration with the RPP. The Grand Duchy of Palais announced that it is readying its navy to defy the blockade of the Aureus gas field by Rizian ships. It pointed out that according to the AN ruling, the blockade of the gas field is a severe violation of international law, and stated that while it has no intention of expanding the conflict, the Palesian nation would not hesitate to implement the AN ruling. And Kairos has congratulated us on a successful election. How many troops do we have? Can we deploy more units? Give me 4 more infantry. Bring those bad boys up. We're going to war, baby. We're going to war. How are they feeling against us? They're still strong, but you know, I'm the human player. That means I got like an inherent advantage. Okay, what's going up in the news? In what marks a serious turnaround of fortunes for the Rizian National Coalition, the RPP has claimed victory of the House of Delegates. Many of the palace are reportedly angry at what has been considered a botched election campaign by the party that failed to capture the imagination of voters. It remains to be seen what the official reaction from the king will be, and whether the RNC will be allowed to continue calling itself the King's Party. It is not unthinkable the official collaboration with the RPP will be the new path going forward. And sign up for the King's Army. Citizens, patriots, we at the Royal Herald call upon all able-bodied men to willingly to serve his king and country to enlist in their local recruitment bureau. As more and more actors question Rizia's sovereignty, we must do our duty and ensure our country is able to defend itself should the time come. The career in the military is a prestigious and financially beneficial endeavor. Large pensions are given to former soldiers, and a significant sign-up bonus calculated based on the age will be issued to any sign-ups within the next week. In the recent Alliance of Nations ruling, granting full control over the Aureus gas field of Palesian, despite the majority of the field lying within Rizia's maritime boundary, has caused outrage across the nation, with our king now openly challenging the ruling. In order to keep the pressure on Palesian, our Royal Navy will blockade the gas field in order to prevent Palesian drilling ships starting operations. Okay, what else is going on? Let's just go to the bottom here. Smolak condemns Arcasian soldiers in Lesbia. Bayervik's Valen. Valek President Viktor Smolak on Thursday criticized the Lesbian government for bringing Arcasian soldiers close to the borders of Valent. Last month, Prime Minister Alavrez and President Walker agreed on the construction of several military bases in Lesbia that would station ATO soldiers. With the arrival of the first Arcasian soldiers to Lesbia this week, Valent's stance become increasingly hostile. In his speech on Thursday, Smolak said, President Walker succeeded in spreading Arcasian imperialism to Eastern Merkopa, which will have consequences for every one of us in the region. ATO is clearly expanding its influence in the region using Lesbia. We must be careful, said President Smolak, warning that neighboring nations of Angolia and Sorland are to be prepared for future crises. Okay. Disputed gas field belongs to Palesian, AN rules. The Alliance of Nations announcing its long-awaited ruling on the Aureus gas field dispute, siding with Palesian in ruling that Rizia's claims to the field are invalid under international law. The responsible committee highlighted that due to its size and population, the Rizian island of Calibiez cannot expect to have the same maritime radius as mainland Rizia, a position that was backed by multiple countries, including Lesbia. The first reaction by the Rizian representative to the AN contained disbelief at the decision, as they say the ruling provides a potential dangerous precedent for the future, as maritime boundaries across Merkopa are now open for questioning. The ruling also contained a passage on the presence of Rizian naval vessels in the vicinity of the gas field, demanding an immediate withdrawal and considering it a clear violation of international law. And world anxious as Rizia masses troops on Palesian's border. The entirety of Merkopa, and the rest of the world by extension, is following the Rizian military buildup on the Palesian border closely. In recent days, multiple divisions are reported to be on the move, with Rizian airplanes flying dangerously close to Palesian airspace almost daily. Both ATO and CSP have urged Rizia for constraint. Vermbrick has defended the Rizian military buildup, highlighting that any country has the right to move troops in its borders as it pleases. Okay. We got some protest. Again, it's just the it's all the religious stuff. We don't need to worry about that, I'm sure. I was woken up in the middle of the night by the Golden Guard. Due to the sensitivity of the information, I had been urgently briefed in person. As a king, I knew such summons could only mean dire news. I put on my clothes and followed Titus through the corridors of the palace. Do you know what this is about? I was told to come and get you, Your Majesty. I believe there is an important situation that needs your immediate attention. When we arrived at the doors of the council chambers, Hugo and Vina greeted me. Apologies for disturbing both of you at this hour. Thank you for being here so quickly. Of course, Uncle. He tugged at my arm, leaned in, and whispered, Romus, my boy. I'm afraid we'll be facing our biggest crisis yet. I must stress, this is the time everybody needs a calm and resilient leadership. He took a long look at me and my clothes that I'd rushed to put on. Your butler couldn't be summoned in time, I take it. He put his hand on my shoulder. Make sure you're ready. I'm sure you'll do the right thing. Don't be cryptic with me. You're supposed to be my Grand Vizier. You are right. Let's just go in. He opened the doors for us and entered the scene of barely restrained chaos. The counselors were already gathered inside, their faces etched with lines of worry. Upon my entrance, they all stood up immediately. Lucidia approached me with a calm demeanor, as contrasted with that of the anxious atmosphere inside. She bowed and spoke. Your Majesty, we have an emergency to report. About an hour ago, we received grave news, to put it mildly. A very serious incident at the sea around the Aureus gas field has unfolded. May the divine God protect us. I wish there was another way to put this. The Grand Duchy of Palesian has committed an act of war. I stay silent and gesture for her to continue. This is what we know so far. Approximately half an hour ago, the ships we sent to enforce our claim to the Aureus gas field fired and sunk a Palesian vessel. According to our reports, a small fleet of 3 Palesian ships advanced directly at our ships, despite repeated warnings. The vessel that was sunk was not only warned, it managed to ram our flagship, the RRN Valero, damaging it almost beyond repair. Our fleet then acted in retaliation, discharging the weapons at the Palesians and sinking one of their ships. The other 2 vessels were immediately surrounded. They were being kept at the location of the incident. It's an outrage! They were warned, yet they encroached upon the field, knowing that our navy would defend it. That's true. Our fleet only acted in defense of our nation's assets. But this is still a disaster. The sinking of a ship is a grave matter. Okay. What are the casualties? We're still ascertaining the full extent, but preliminary reports suggest multiple injuries aboard the Valero. And theirs? We don't know yet, Your Majesty. May Sir Varric embrace their souls. Hugo sighed heavily. How did this engagement come to pass? According to a report, around 0400 hours, our naval forces, consisting of flagship RRN Valero and 3 frigates, were patrolling the field when the Palesian fleet, composed of 3 armed vessels, approached the disputed zone. Despite repeated warnings, they continued their advance, executing aggressive maneuvers. The vessel that initiated the conflict attempted to bypass our blockade, excelling towards the RRN Valero. In a reckless act, it rammed our flagship on the starboard side near the engine room. How dare they? Reinhardt is playing a dangerous game. Okay, what's the extent of the damage? Severe, Your Majesty. The impact compromised the hull's integrity, causing significant flooding in the engine room and adjacent compartments. The Valero's propulsion systems were heavily damaged, rendering the ship immobile. It is currently running on emergency power, but the flooding is critical. Without damage control teams that are working tirelessly, but without external assistance, the risk of losing a flagship is very high. We estimate approximately 150 sailors are engaged in containment efforts as we speak. That's very serious. We can't afford to lose our most valuable vessel like that in an attack like this. Therefore, we must act quickly, Majesty. Our fleet requires all the help we can give. And the remaining Palesian vessels? The remaining 2, upon seeing their companions' fate, ceased their advance and are currently held in a standoff distance. They're completely surrounded and outgunned. The Admiral is waiting for your orders on how to deal with the situation. Additionally, it is reported that there are survivors from the colliding ship. These are perilous waters, Your Majesty, so we don't know if we'll be able to manage a complete rescue operation without any help arriving. Our fleet is currently fully focused on holding the remaining vessels in place while trying to help the RRN Valero contain the flooding. What are your thoughts, Chancellor or Councillor Escabel? Your Majesty, leaving the Palesian soldiers to fend for themselves could be seen as a severe dereliction of maritime duty. It would damage our international standing, and the Duke would paint us as inhumane. This is their game, Councillor Escabel. We can't let them write the rules for it. However, focusing our efforts on the RRN Valero is critical. It's not only about saving our flagship, which is the most expensive vessel in the Navy, but about preventing any further loss of Rizian life. Diverting our frigates to rescue could jeopardize the containment efforts on Valero, as well as put the risk the escape of the Palesian vessels. Okay, I think I have the picture. Any last thoughts before I announce my decision? May the divine grant you strength, Matt. Why are you even here? You haven't done, like, anything ever. House Aureus expects you to use this opportunity, Your Majesty. Heard enough. We must prepare for war. We will not attempt a rescue operation for these sailors. We must attempt both rescues. I'm leaning towards either 2 or 3. I don't know exactly which one we're going to take. Oh, from the mainland. We'll try to do both. Understood, Your Majesty. I'll let the Admiral know about your orders immediately. It's a risky maneuver, Your Majesty. I sure hope this does not come at the cost of our flagship. Juggling both responsibilities will be a challenge, but it may be the best course of action to mitigate broader consequences. I support the decision. This could foster goodwill despite the complexities, and I agree with Her Highness, Your Majesty. Our House of Rizia nationalists would have expected us to use this opportunity, though. I can only hope this doesn't trigger into a larger problem. I believe Your Majesty has already made his decision. The councilors fell silent. Was there anything else? I believe that is all, Your Majesty. The councilors bowed in respect and left the room. And I will say, with that, well, I mean, there's a low manpower pool because I'm training more soldiers. Don't you understand this game? I don't understand. Okay, well, I would say at least for right now, this is going to be a good time for us to end this episode. If you have enjoyed, run thumbs up. Not enjoyed, click thumbs down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.